Hey everyone, so today I'm going to show you some fun techniques and ways to use your stencils. I'm just preparing my samples for the Creative Craft Products launch, so I'm making 10 samples to share. So if you purchase any of the stencils from that launch, then you'll have this video as a reference, but it's also just a great video for those of you that have your stencils and maybe don't use them as much as you would like. So all the sentiments, I'll show you those at the end, but I've got these, like I said, 10 new stencils here. They're all 6x6, but I thought it'd be really nice. I've done all of these techniques that I'm going to show you today at some point over the years. They might be in an individual video, they've been during a Facebook Live. I've done most of these at some point. So in no particular order, what I've already got prepared is I've got a tray of water just to the left of me. So if you are working with a lot of stencils and you're using different pastes and materials, have some water to hand, and then you can just, once you've used them, just pop them in the water, and then none of the different products are going to dry and then be really difficult to remove. So if you just keep them submerged in the water, it's just a warm, like I said, soapy water, then it's going to be easy to clean at the end. So I've got all that ready. I've got my stick and spray, which I'll be using for some of the stencils. I've got loads of different things all around me here. What we do is we do the texture mousse, because that's going to take a little bit of time to dry. So I want to use this one here, and I've got this beautiful texture mousse here. Well, it's called Lustre polish, but I'm going to use it more like a mousse. So I'm going to use my little spatula with this. It's gorgeous, one of my absolute favourite colours. Okay, so I've got myself a bunch of just under 6x6. I've cut them using A4 cards, so it's about 5 7/8 squared. I've got those all ready. So this one here, I'm just going to place over the top. I'm going to take my softer spatula. I like this one here that's just got a little bit more movement to it, but I've got metal ones there, you know, the bigger ones there as well if you've got a larger surface. Actually, because it's quite a thick paste, I think I am going to use the stick and spray. So this one here, it tells you exactly how to use it. I haven't got a great deal left actually, but you just want to spray it. I'm going to do it away from my desk. Probably can't see it that well, but there's like a layer now of this glue over the top, and it will all come off. Like I said, pop it in the water straight after you've used it and it will come straight off. So I'm just placing that over the top. So that's going to stop any mousse going underneath the detail. You might get the odd one, you know, you never really know what's going to happen when you lift your stencils off. But I'm just going to make sure that's all secure there. I'm going to bring down my bigger mat here as well. Okay, so just give that a bit of a mix. I haven't used it for a while, but I find these ones really last. I've had some other branded mousses, you know, texture paste and stuff, and they've completely dried up, which is really sad. But this one, I never find that happens. So I want it to be quite thick, and you're just going to brush it over all that detail there. Just go in all directions so you get it into all of those areas. Okay, and I'm just going to take off any excess there, because that can all be used again. And then just very carefully, and the reveal is just amazing. It's beautiful. Hopefully it's picking up all that lovely shine there, and once that dries even more, it will have even more sparkle, and there's a lovely dimension to it as well. So we'll pop that to one side, and we will come back to that towards the end when I add my sentiment. Okay, so for the next one, I'm going to use this Moroccan design, and again, this needs a little bit of time to dry, and then we'll come back and do the part 2 to it. So the first part, what I want to do is use my Gilding Flakes with this one, and I'm going to be using this glue here, which is your Flake and Glitter glue by Cosmic Shimmer. But this needs just a little bit of time, not long, maybe 10 minutes, because this needs to have some time to dry so it becomes tacky. And then I've got this box here. Again, I've not taken this out for such a long time, but I've just got all these different colours. And I thought with the Moroccan tile effect, that would look really effective. Again, I'm going to take one of these here, and I'm just going to sit this one over the top and tape it into place. So I've just dumped some of that glue onto the mat here. I'm just using the craft sponge here. There is a bit of colour on here that's gone on there, but it's not going to matter. You're going to be covering it with the Gilding Flakes. You just want a light application. You don't need to go heavy with this. Okay, so I think I've covered most of that. So again, I'm just going to very carefully lift this one off, like so. And if I just hold it up to the light, you can hopefully just make out, there we go, that design. So that just needs to dry a little now. We'll come back to that one at the end. For the third card, I'm going to use the music background and we're going to heat emboss. So I'm going to mix the colours as well. So we're going to have silver and gold in this one. I've got my VersaMarker watermark ink there. So you want to prepare your cardstock. So you want to get your anti-static powder and cover the whole area. And I also cover my fingers, especially doing what I'm doing at the moment, because I've probably got a bit of that Gilding Flake glue residue still on my fingers. That's all going to attract the embossing powder. So again, I'm just going to place this one down over the top and tack that in place. I've got the refill bottle here, so I think I'm just going to pop some on my mat there. And again, just a thin coating, because you don't want to get any blobs going underneath the stencil. I mean, like I said, you still might get the odd one, but I haven't taped these in place, so who knows what's going to happen. It's always a surprise. But even if you get kind of incomplete parts and it's maybe not taken everywhere, you can snip into it, and it actually looks quite nice, I think, on the cards as well, to have them a little bit incomplete. So I wouldn't worry too much, but I think that's covered that portion. Let's just pop a little bit more. So there is quite a lot of detail on this one, some real small areas, so I'm hoping that it is going to pick all of that up. Okay, from what I can see catching the light, it looks like it's taken really well. I just want to be careful with my fingers on the edge. Can you see? Hopefully again, it's just, there we go, just catching the light there. So now the magic part. If you've never done heat embossing before, let's get some scrap card here. And I'm just going to just sprinkle. I don't want to do too much because I'm not going to be able to decant this back into the bottle, so I just want to make sure I get a nice covering from both the colours there. Ooh. What I'll do now is I'm just going to tip that down the other way because I don't want to use any more. So if I try and keep this all in the card, just get down, you can see it already taking. It's just, again, I never get bored, never tire of heat embossing. Oh, that's taken a lot better than I thought. I thought I was going to have quite a lot of patchy areas with that one, but I'm pleasantly surprised. So I'm just going to grab my tweezers, because I've got a very little area to be able to hold on, and just grip that there, and then just to give it a good tap on the back. I've got something going on down here. Now you can salvage a lot of that depending on how patient you are. Just use a brush, but what I'll probably end up doing is just covering or snipping that bit away. And then what you can also do is just go in with a pokey tool and just kind of scratch it and blow it at the same time. Now your next top tip is to make sure your heat gun is nice and hot. I always leave mine on when I'm first starting to use it for a good 30 seconds before I then move it onto the cardstock. You want it to be as hot as it can be so that the heat melts that embossing powder straight away. Otherwise, if you're working it on the card as it's warming up, it's just going to warp your card even more. So it will reduce warping if your tool is really hot. I do have a heat embossing tips and tricks video, and I'll link it up here. Lots of people enjoy watching that one, and I share a lot more information there. So I'm going to turn this on and then get that all set. So if I just bring this up close now, you can see how wonderful that looks. I love the two-tone effect with the gold and the silver there, and it's got, you know, a bit of texture to it as well. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to do all of these first, and then I'm going to make the cards at the end. So for this one, I'm just going to use the stencil the normal way. So I'm just going to use these blues here to create a nice background. And then what I'm going to do is cover it with a polish at the end to give it a shine. And I just think it'll set it off really nicely. So I've got Tumbled Glass, Salty Ocean, Blueprint Sketch and Chipped Sapphire. I've got the little stencil brushes here. And what I'm going to do is just, no real rules, just make sure they're all stuck down because there's a lot of like points kind of ends on these ones. I just want to start adding a bit of the kind of lighter area to the tips on some of them and just kind of work my way down each piece with the different blues. And they should blend really nicely together. That's all the ink down. Now there's actually another technique. We can do two techniques with this one. So I'm just going to again carefully do the reveal. If you get any residue of the sticky stick and spray, you can just rub it off. So just make sure your inks are dry first. But how lovely is that? See all the difference. Can you see these little speckles? That's just the glue there. So that will all come off in a moment. And plus the glitter that I'm going to put over the top is going to cover it all. So because of the inks I've used a water reactive, when I spray some water on this, I'm hoping that I'll be able to get an unusual transfer of this design onto the cardstock. Unless you're using some kind of permanent ink that's going to stick to the acetate, then you probably wouldn't be able to do this. But I think most inks that we have in our craft rooms, you'll be able to create this effect. So I'm just going to move that one out of the way and grab a bit of paper towel. Now you want your, well, you don't, this, to be honest, you don't have to have your die machine, but I've got my die machine because I want to run this through to really get a good impression. So actually what I'm going to do is pop the paper towel on here, just so I don't get any of the ink onto there. I'll just spray this on my mat. So I'm just going to do a light mist. I don't want to have big, she says that, and then I get droplets. Just, you won't see this at the moment, but it's just a nice little fine mist just to activate. I can see that now activating. And then I'm going to sit this on to my machine. Might be worth me just trimming that paper down actually. And then we're going to flip this over and just drop it down. Pop your plate on top, which will probably stick to the plate because it's got the glue on, but that's fine, we can clean all that and just pass that through. And now we've got a really cool, how beautiful is that? So two different effects there. I love how this one's gone more purpley, but still looks really lovely. So if you do this technique, don't waste your inks there. You can use them, and then it's only stuck a little bit on there, but I'm just going to pop that. You can see actually it's transferred all of that ink off there, so I've not wasted any. So I'm going to let that dry, and then this one here I'm going to cover with this here, which is the Glitter Kiss, and it's beautiful. I'm going to use the applicator in the thing here, but you can again use a spatula like I did before, and you just want to load up the sponge, and then I'm just going to brush it over. It might react a little bit. Again, this doesn't take too long to dry as long as you've not gone too thick. Take off any excess. You can wash your sponges if you want, but I just leave mine. I find once I start to reactivate it again, it all softens. Okay, so again, if I just hold that up there, you should now, there we go, just start to see all that sparkle. Once that dries, probably will pick up even better. Okay, so for the next one, I'm going to use some glue and glitter, and we're going to have a glittery background. So this is using the zigzag one. I'm not going to use the stick and spray. I'm going to just use my dauber again and just tack this one in place. So again, just going to dump out some glue on my mat, load up my sponge here, and then just dab that glue all over. So as long as you hold your stencil down, don't worry if it lifts like that, it should still, if you're going, you know, light with the glue, you shouldn't get it bleeding underneath. Okay, again, take off the stencil there. And then I've got this silver glitter, and I'm going to just use, again, another piece of card here to catch it in. Completely cover it. And I'm just going to use my finger and just kind of push down just to make sure it sticks onto all of that. And I think some of the glue dried, or I actually think I missed some areas, but it still gives a really lovely effect. It's a bit grungy, I think, with those missed areas, but yeah, you can see there's no glue at all. It's not even dried glue, so that's all that is. I just missed some areas. But like I said, once you pop your sentiment on there, maybe you're doing a nice floral design on top, you'll probably hide most of that anyway. But really, really pretty, and just love all that sparkle. So next I'm going to use this really pretty, this is the floral mandala, and I want to do a dry embossed effect, and then maybe ink it afterwards so it creates like a 3D, you know, embossing effect. So I'm just going to place that on top, and then you need to sandwich this. So I'm going to, most people would use, I can't find my rubber shims anywhere, so I'm using, this is the universal foam shim from Creative Craft Products, and I'm going to pop one on top as well, and then I'm also going to just add just a sheet of card on top of there, and then run that all through. Okay, and you'll see it's worked. It's created this beautiful embossed detail. And once you add your inks to that, you would see it more. So I think I'm going to try and, you know, add a little bit of colour to all of that detail there. But it's gorgeous. Hopefully it's picking it up there. There we go. So that's how you dry emboss. Like I said, with a rubber shim, you probably get it even more defined. But you can easily go back over again. Just line up your image. I'm not going to do it this time, just in case I mess it up, because I do really love the effect that that's given me. There you go there. You can kind of feel it kind of like lock into place. So there you go. That is back in its place again. Shall I try it? Let's try it. So we'll place it back down on there again, and then we'll just add another piece on top. Like I said, most die machines come with the rubber mat, but hardly use it. And it's typical when I want to now show it with this technique, I can't find it. Okay, let's try that one. Yeah, it has. It's a little bit better. You can probably see it. Yeah, there we go. You can just see it there. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, this one here, I want to show you how you can do a layered inky background. So this one is the falling triangles. So I guess we've got to have it this way. You can have it any way you want, but we'll do it this way. And what I'm going to do is cover it all in yellow first, and then I'm going to shift it and cover it all in orange, and then shift it and cover it all in pink. And we should get a really nice effect. So I've just got my blending brushes here. I'm using Squeezed Lemonade, Carved Pumpkin and Worn Lipstick. Okay, so now that's covered, I'm just going to carefully lift this up, and we'll do the reveal. Gorgeous design there. But now I want to shift it just slightly. I don't know whether to shift it across or down. Let's see. I think down might be better. No, because then you're going to get that line. Now we'll shift it across. So I'm just going to move it about there. Just want that kind of similar white. There we go. So now I'm going to cover this in the orange. And again, do the reveal. Which looks really cool. So now we can see a little bit of the yellow. What I'm going to do is just wipe this, because I don't want a lot of that orange to contaminate and mix with the pink there. So I'm just going to give my stencil a wipe. Okay. And then I'll grab some fresh tape. Again, trying to get that same white on all of the pieces. You'll probably find you'll get an even better result if you use a bigger design. So the Moroccan tiles, that would look really good because it's quite, each section's big. But this one, you still get the idea anyway, and it's just the process of shifting them you can use, you know, on any of your stencils. So now again, I'm going to add this pink. Not that different actually to the first one. I thought we'd have a little bit more pink, but you can still see the yellow and the different shades of the orange there. Still think it looks really cool. Just gives it more of a 3D look. Each of the triangles, you can see this one here has got yellow, and it's got the orange, and then it's got more of that coral pink on top. They look like they're stacked, and they almost look a bit like those Halloween sweets. We don't have them so much here in the UK, but I know in the US you do. Is it corn? Little corns or something they're called? Candy corn? Maybe I'm wrong, let me know. But they kind of give me that feel with these colours that I've used. So that could work really well for a Halloween card. So I just want to do that technique again with this stencil, because I think you'll be able to see it better. And I'm actually going to mix this is Sparkle Paste, Cosmic Shimmer. So I'm going to place this one down over the top. And I'm not going to add any spray adhesive to this one because I need to move it. So I'm going to use the picked raspberry, so I think that's going to look really nice with that sparkly gold. And just going to cover all of this. So now we've got that lovely background, and then I might just wipe that so I don't get it contaminated with the paste. Now what I'm going to do before I put that on is I'm just going to heat set this just so it's not wet, because I want to spray some adhesive onto that to fix it in place before I add the paste. Okay, so now I've just sprayed the adhesive on the back, so I just need to hover this over the top. Okay, that looks about right. Stick that down. And now we can use this lovely sparkle paste. And then again, do the reveal. And that looks awesome. Oh, wow, I love that. I'll just bring that up. How beautiful is that? So this shows it better. So this is a great technique, just shifting the stencil, but you're better using a stencil that has more, just bigger sections, and then you can really kind of see all the layers there. And I love the white just popping through there as well. I think that looks really cool. Okay, so for this one, I'm using the Floral Corner stencil, and I want to ink up all these pieces in different colours so we can create a nice scene. So again, I'm not going to, I always say this and I think I should, now I'm going to spray it purely because there's a lot of detail on this one. So I've just sprayed just in that portion there, you don't need to cover it all. Just let that get a little bit tacky. Okay, and then you could have this, you know, in any colour. In fact, that looks quite nice up there. I've got a terrible habit of doing that. I go to say it and then I do it. If you've been following me, you probably noticed that I do that a lot. Okay, so for this one, I've just pulled out all different colours here. I've got picked raspberry, I've got mowed lawn. It'd be nice to have a slightly darker green as well, actually. I'm going to use the rustic wilderness there. Squeezed lemonade. Twisted citron would look quite nice. I've got seedless preserves, and I've got saltwater taffy. And I'm just going to cover all of this. So the leaves, all the different colours. What I'll probably do is the flowers first, and then I'll do the green because that's quite a dark colour. What I can do is rub off some of the, you know, the excess ink, and then go in with the darker colour. Okay, so you would have just seen me adding all of the different colours there, and I was just covering areas that I didn't want the ink to go into. So for example, the flower there, I just covered all around it so the pink stayed within there, and so on. And now again for the reveal. There, isn't that pretty? And you could add glitter over that. So if you keep your stencil, or wipe it, place the stencil back over again and just add glitter just onto that portion, that would look really nice as well. But I think I'm going to use some of my accent glaze on those there. I'm going to add a little gem in the centre of that one, and probably in the centre of that one, and then just a nice sentiment. Okay, so I've still got 2 more stencils I think to show, but I want to do the Gilding Flakes on this one. So it's really tacky now. Should be able to, you know, pick it up. And then what I'm going to do is just place down some of these sheets, just so I've got a bit of each colour there. So I'm just going to cover. What I might do actually is just dump this right out on here. You just want to cover the whole thing. You could put this card into this tub as well. You don't want to have any kind of like heating on or any kind of blowers, any air conditioning when you're doing this, because yeah, it's going to go everywhere. And just cover it over everything. It's going to look a bit like a hot mess at the moment. Just trust the process. So I've just got rid of all the big chunks, and you want something with like a bit of a rough bristle. You can get your stencil brushes like this. This is a Nouveau brush, and then just work your way around the design, and this will almost scratch away all of the bits and just leave that design. And then what you're left with is this gorgeous design. Again, I love the mix of the colours there. So fun, and it's got a nice texture to it. If you can feel anything sticky, then you need to go back over it again. So I'm going to use the leafy background stencil for this one, and I'm going to do the Emboss Resist technique. So again, just cover your area with your anti-static powder. I'm not going to use the spray adhesive on this one, so I'm just going to place this over the top. I'm just going to again pop some of the ink on there, and then just load up the sponge again, and then dab that all over the image. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's take that one off and just about make out the image there. Then I'm going to use my white embossing powder. I'm going to cover the whole area and then heat set it. Okay, so you should be able to pick that up there. There you go. You can see the white's all set. So I'm going to use these colours here. So I'm going to have Rustic Wilderness at the bottom, Mowed Lawn through the middle, and then Twisted Citron towards the top. Okay, so once you're happy with the background that you've created, just get some clean, dry paper towel, and you're just going to rub over, and you'll see how much whiter. You see this compared to this? And that's why it's called the Embossed Resist technique. I always find this works better when you've got that darker background. So you know, your deeper shades, you always see it more. But look how much more that's popped. I've got another detail, I would say, that I'm going to add to this, but I'm going to let the Distress Oxide ink dry first. So the last card is using the circuit stencil, but first I want to create like a space kind of galaxy background, because so although it is a circuit board design, I think it could look really good used on a space theme. So I've just got a selection of colours here. You can just about see them on the screen, and I'm just going to put this all on high speed, and then I'm just going to heat emboss the circuit design just like I did on the music notes. So it's the same technique, but I just wanted to show you a different, building that inky background and then inking on top. So I've laid all the colour down and just kind of blurred the areas. It always looks a hot mess at this time. Again, it's another trust the process. I'm just going to add some water in my hand and then just kind of flick it like big blobs and just those thin little specks. And I'm going to finish it with some, once I've done the embossing, I'm going to put some white, in fact no, I might do that before actually, some white acrylic paint on top to look like the stars. So you can see there how it's starting to create these lovely effects, and then just lay down your paper and just blot off all that water. Look at that. That alone just transforms it. So that could look like, you know, the galaxies and the stars. So now just set that aside and let it air dry, or you can use your heat tool. Okay, and then I'm going to use this here. So it's the Dr. Phil Martin's Bleed Proof White, and it's very opaque. I always forget to use this, and I was reminded the other day when I was watching my friend Lou live, and she used it on one of her cards. So just giving that a really good mix. You can see that it's got a lovely thick consistency. And then I'm just going to dump some out on an acrylic block there. Just make sure you've got your area clear. And then I'm going to add a few drops of water onto here and just mix that up a little bit. So it's still nice and thick. Now this has got a curve in it, so I kind of need to, I'm just going to pass that through my die machine to flatten it a little bit. Okay, so that's better. And then I'm just going to flick it off the side of the block here. Now the closer you go, the thicker the effect, the higher you are, you're going to have more of that spray. So I'm just going to go in, down quite low there, you go, and this is what transforms it. So if you don't have something like this, just blot the paper with the water technique and just do it a few more times. But if you've got a, you know, a white acrylic like this, or like get some those bigger splats, and like I said, if you just spray it like so, this is why you want to make sure you've got nothing around. Okay, I think I'm done. I'm going to step away, and then I'm going to heat set that. Again, let it air dry if you would prefer. And then I'm going to heat emboss the circuit design over the top. Okay, so I've finished all of the cards. So like I said, these are samples, so they need to really show off the stencil pattern and some of the sentiments. So I would actually add a lot more to these as well and build them up a bit more, but this is how I've finished all of these. So you've got that lovely zigzag design there, and then it's got the sentiment, "You'll never be this young again, happy birthday." And I've just added a couple of little gold stars onto that one. This one here, again, is pretty simple. "I'm always here for you" is the sentiment I've added, and I've framed it slightly with a similar pink cardstock there to match that mandala. And I didn't want to take anything away from that. Again, we need to show off those lovely designs on the cards. This one here, added a few little sequins, and then the sentiment, "You colour my world," which I thought worked really well with this design. This one here, "Enjoy your new adventure." You can see all that sparkle and it catches the light there. It's really nice. This one here, just a good luck card for the future. Again, just so you can see all of that design there. This one I love. I cut out the middle and then use the sentiment, "Every day is another chance to make your dreams come true." Again, you can see all that lovely shine with the Gilding Flakes. This one, "Happy drunk, let's get birthday." I like that sentiment. And I thought the music notes worked for like a party. And then this one here, "Gone but not forgotten." I just went over those using this one here. I didn't actually reuse the stencil over the top. I just used the VersaMarker. So this is a dual tip, and it's the watermark ink but in a pen. So I just coloured over it and then just popped the embossing powder over the top. So you've got a lot more control. The other end there is a brush tip. This smaller one here, I've used the zigzag in the glitter there. And "Hope your birthday sparkles," and I've just done that trail of stars and circles there. This one here, I used the sentiment, "Thanks for your support," and I've just added some of my accent glaze and a couple of little embellishments there. And then the last one, which I just love, it's really over the top, but I've cut out this piece so it looks like the moon, so I've done it towards the top of the card. "Love you to the moon and back." But there's also another one which I didn't see until after. Actually, there was two. It was this one, "You are my star." That one would have gone really well. But also this one, "I thank my lucky stars for a friend like you." That one would have been perfect as well. So yeah, there's so many sentiments on there. I keep finding ones when I think I've seen them all. So there's all the 11 cards. I do still have this background here. I just need to add that onto a card, which is already there, but again, need to pull out a sentiment there. But lots of different techniques, and I hope that, you know, you found this video informative. I will link all of the product that I've used as always in the description box below. I'll have some other technique videos coming up now. You might want to go and watch those next. I'll have the embossing one there actually that I mentioned. And as always, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed today, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. I really do appreciate it. Take care. See you later. Bye.